Hello and welcome back to my channel. So I uploaded no videos this year other than part of Vlogmas and then some old footage that I had. And I feel like every year around this time I kind of start to feel sad because I really do love my YouTube channel and I really do want to be more involved with it. But in the grand scheme of things, just as far as time works, it doesn't always work out. So I definitely wanted to come on here and at least talk about how I read 4 books this year. And then give you my honest review of those 4 books. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So the first book I read this year was Shine Your Icy Crown by Amanda Lovelace. Amanda Lovelace is one of my favorite poets. I have said that 1,000 times. But she released... There's stuff on the cover. Moving sucks. So she released a new collection and I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I loved it so much. As I do with all of her collections, it just didn't quite hit home as much as The Princess Saves Herself or The Mermaid's Voice Returns. However, I still loved it. The next book that I read was Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. So I picked up this book and I'm sure I know I've said it 1,000 times. It was compared to Red, White, and Royal Blue, which is one of my favorite all-time reads. So reading this book, I did have expectations going in. It is a pretty thick book. It is the longest book I read this year by far. Out of the 4 books I read, 2 of which were poetry collections. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. So it followed the story of Luke, or Luce, but I'm going to call him Luke for the sake of this video. So Luke has always kind of been in the public eye. He is the son of a former rock star, but it hasn't really ever come into play for him until now when his father is stepping back into the spotlight, which means that I'm going to stop shaking the book, which means that he needs to clean up his act. So the best way he can think to do that is to fake date. So fake dating tropes, I usually don't love them. I think it worked really well in this story. So he meets up with a boy named Oliver Blackwood, who he has known previously. However, other than being gay, they have absolutely nothing in common. But Oliver needs Luke as well to keep his family off his back about dating and marriage and all of that fun stuff. So together they make an agreement that they will do the fake dating thing for a while, keep Luke's nose clean, keep Oliver's nose clean, and make everybody happy. So as you can probably imagine, chaos ensues and the book is left, I wouldn't say with loose ends tied. There is a sequel that is expected to come out in 2022, which I'm very excited for. It's called Husband Material. I think it ends in a really good place. The reason that it didn't get a full 5 from me is just because there were some ways that mental health was introduced that I feel like if you're going to introduce mental health into a book, I don't feel like it should be a side plot or a way to move the story forward, and I kind of feel like that's what they did with Oliver. I'm hoping in Husband Material it kind of explores that a little bit more. I just didn't love the way that Oliver and his struggles was dealt with. So I read those 2 books in February, and I didn't read another book until December. So if you watched anything of Vlogmas, you know that I read Michigan versus the Boys. I talked about it in my Vlogmas, so I'll just do a quick recap. It's by Carrie Allen, I want to say. Yes. So in my Vlogmas, I had mixed reviews on it. I've had some more time, of course, to sit with it and think on it. So I think for me, it is a story about a girl whose hockey team gets dissolved. To meet the standards of Title IX, the boys swimming team also gets dissolved. So the 2 leaders of the 2 teams, Michigan and I want to say his name is Jack. So the 2 leaders of the team, Michigan and Jack, kind of come together to brainstorm what they can do to try and save their sports. However, the principal essentially tells them there's nothing they can do. So Michigan's only option is to either A, go play for a team that is an hour away, or B, try out for the boys team. Her parents veto the hour away idea, so she goes out for the boys team and makes it. And it is hell. So I think my biggest issue with this book was the way, number one, the coach was played out, because the coach has a daughter, a young daughter that plays on an all-boys team, but he was very against having a girl play on his all-boys team, which it just didn't click for me. I just didn't feel like that made a lot of sense. And then two, just the team in general. And now that I've had more time to sit with it, I understand why it was written the way it was written and why the ending happened the way that it did. I just wasn't expecting it. It's not the book that I was expecting to read. I didn't expect to read about date rape and assault, violent assault, and things like that. I thought it would be a kind of happy-go-lucky story because that's the way that the description reads. So overall, I think I was just kind of taken aback and surprised by it. I did give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars at the end. I think going into the story, it's just important to know that it is actually a really deep and hard-hitting read, and to have that mindset when you're going into it. The last book that I read this year was Honeybee by Trista Matier. So I was gifted this poetry collection a couple birthdays ago. Maybe it was last year, I don't remember. But I was really in the mood for some poetry, and I loved what was it called? Aphrodite Made Me Do It by Trista Matier. Honeybee, amazing. I loved it. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5, and I would highly recommend. It deals with sexuality and biphobia and kind of body image. Aphrodite Made Me Do It is more on the body image side. This is kind of more on the sexuality and finding yourself and being comfortable in your own skin, and I just loved the whole premise. So yeah, those were all the books that I read this year, which for me, that is a low. That is an all-time low. It's a little embarrassing to admit. I went back to my 2020, and honestly, I didn't read like a crazy amount of books, but I read like 20 at least. So to only read 4 in a whole year was very eye-opening to me. Number one, how much time I spend on social media. I have since deleted TikTok and Twitter, and I think that it was definitely an experience to show me that like I spend a lot of time on social media, time that could be used in other ways. And then two, it just kind of showed me that it was a difficult year for me to really just sit down and focus on anything. I was really involved, so I'm getting my master's. It is an all-consuming process to work full-time and get your master's full-time, and I don't think I was ready for the level of commitment when I signed up for my master's. That is 100% on me. That is my own doing, but yeah, it has been very difficult to try and juggle time management, and it has taught me a lot. And then I also moved, oh my God, I moved out of my old apartment into a townhome, out of that townhome into a new apartment. So I've moved 4 times, and I moved 4 times in about a 2-month span. So that whole process was absolutely wild. So overall, I mean, I feel like the past couple of years, honestly, have just been an absolute whirlwind. So yeah, when I look back on my year and I wonder where all the time went, it definitely went to work and school 100% of the time. And then I would decompress instead of by reading or writing on social media. So moving into 2022, I'm definitely looking to reframe my mindset as far as what I use to decompress. Hopefully using my time more, I don't want to say more wisely, because sometimes social media is a great decompression, but sometimes there can definitely be an oversaturation of media. So I just think working to find a good balance is important for me moving forward. And I don't know, maybe all of this sounds crazy and you have no idea what I'm talking about, but I definitely feel like with all the social media outlets we have these days, it is very easy to get caught up. And so I think moving forward into 2022, I would just want to be more mindful of where my time goes. But if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. I do a video every year called like 19 books I want to read in 2019. And then I've done it every year. obviously I only read 4 books this year, and I think only one of them was on the list of 23 books to read, or 22 books. Oh my god, I don't know the year. 21 books to read in 2021. But I'm still going to do the list because I absolutely love compiling it and sharing it. So I'll be doing 23 books to read. So I'll be doing 22 books to read in 2022, as well as I want to get back to TBRs. So I didn't do any TBRs this year, but moving forward, I want to get back to my Bookopoly because I love the Bookopoly. And then I honestly, I'm not 100% where the Bookopoly board is. It's usually in my living room, but I will find that, and I want to get that video posted within the first week of January and then get back to like a monthly TBR list. I never hit my monthly TBRs, but it always makes me feel good instead of just staring at my bookshelf and having no idea where to start, to just like have some ideas as far as what I can't, like what to read. So those are the next videos to be looking forward to coming out within the next week or two. But if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for inconsistent but more content, and I will see you guys in the future.